No armor, no sound, still every predator recognized her instantly. Part 1. The Silent Arrival. The station was not a good place. It floated at the edge of known space, far from any law or government. 7 different alien species used it for trade. Most of that trade was illegal. Weapons, drugs, slaves. The strong took what they wanted here, and the weak learned to hide. The docking bay was always busy. Ships came and went every hour. Aliens of all shapes and sizes walked through the massive metal halls. Some had claws, some had fangs, some had poison. All of them were dangerous. They had evolved on harsh worlds where only the strongest survived. They were predators, every single one of them. On this particular day, a small shuttle landed in Bay 17. It was an old ship, nothing special. No weapons visible on the outside, no military markings, just a plain transport vessel that looked like it might fall apart at any moment. The aliens in the bay barely noticed at first. Then the door opened. A woman stepped out. She was human, that much was obvious. She was also small, even by human standards, maybe 160 centimeters tall. Her black hair was pulled back in a simple tie. She wore dark clothes, plain and practical. No armor covered her body. No weapon hung at her side. She carried nothing but a small bag over her shoulder. She should have been invisible. She should have been prey. But every predator in that bay stopped moving. A trader 3 meters tall with tusks like knives felt his secondary hearts begin to race. He did not know why. The human was tiny. He could crush her with one hand. Yet something deep inside him, something older than thought, screamed at him to look away, to not draw her attention. A pack of hunters, wolf-like creatures that killed in groups, moved closer together without thinking. Their leader's ears went flat against his skull. His tail dropped between his legs. He had hunted prey across a dozen worlds. He had never felt like this. The merchants, snake-like beings with scales that changed color with their moods, all turned pale. Fear. They were showing fear, and they could not stop it. The human woman walked forward. Her steps were calm and steady. She did not look around nervously like prey would. She did not swagger like a predator trying to seem tough. She simply moved with the quiet confidence of someone who had absolutely nothing to prove. Her eyes swept across the bay, just once, just a quick look at everyone present. The clan leader, who had killed more enemies than he could count, felt those eyes pass over him for perhaps half a second. In that moment, every instinct in his body, every lesson learned through 40 years of violence, gave him the same message. Do not fight this one. Do not threaten this one. Do not even speak to this one unless she speaks first. He stepped back. He did not decide to step back. His body simply did it. The human woman walked past him without a word. She moved through the crowd, and the crowd parted for her like water around a stone. No one bumped into her. No one blocked her path. No one even looked directly at her. They were predators. They had conquered worlds. They had enslaved entire species. And they were afraid of a small human woman with no weapons. She found the information broker's office near the center of the bay. Was old and cunning, who sold secrets to anyone with enough credits. She had been in this business for 60 years. She had never given information for free, and she had never been scared in her own office. The human woman sat down across from her. I am looking for a child, the woman said. Her voice was soft. Her galactic common was accented but clear. A human girl, 7 years old. She was taken from a colony ship 3 cycles ago. Her name is... Scales flickered between colors. She wanted to lie. She always lied first, then sold the truth later at a higher price. That was how the game worked. But when she opened her mouth, the truth came out instead. Lower levels, Section 9. Compound, he keeps the human slaves there. The human woman nodded once. Thank you. She placed a credit chip on the desk and stood up. Watched her leave. Then she looked down at her hands. They were shaking. She had faced assassins in this office. She had negotiated with warlords and crime bosses. Her hands had never shaken before. What was that human? Word spread fast on the station. Within an hour, everyone knew. A human female had arrived. She was alone. She had no weapons, no armor, no ship capable of fighting. She had asked about the slaves in compound. In the lower levels, the slavers laughed when they heard. One human woman, himself, was a massive, even bigger than. He had earned his title, the Unbroken, by defeating every challenger who had ever faced him. Is this a joke? Send her down. I will add her to my collection. His guards laughed with him. They had 200 fighters. They had automated defense systems. They had walls of metal and energy shields and enough weapons to fight a small war. What could one human do? But up in the main levels, the predators who had seen her arrive did not laugh. They did not mock. They began quietly packing their things and booking passage on outgoing ships. They canceled 3 major deals and left on the next transport. When his business partner asked why, he could not explain. He only knew that he needed to be far away from this station. The hunting pack was gone within 2 hours. Their leader left a message for his contact. We are not hunters here anymore. Something else is hunting now. The human woman found a small room in a cheap part of the station. She set down her bag. She sat on the bed, and she waited. She had learned long ago that patience was the greatest weapon. Let them laugh. Let them think she was weak. Let them make their plans and set their guards and believe they were safe. She had time. Her name was Min. She was 43 years old. She had a daughter back on Earth, almost grown now. She worked for people who needed help when no one else would help them. A mother had contacted the Korean government 2 weeks ago. Her daughter had been taken. She did not have money for mercenaries or private military. She only had hope. That hope had led to Min. In her bag was a photo of a little girl with round cheeks and bright eyes. 7 years old, loved dolls and strawberry milk and singing songs from cartoons. Somewhere in this station, that little girl was waiting in a cage, wondering if anyone would come for her. Someone had come, and Min would not leave without her. No armor, no sound, still every predator recognized her instantly. Part 2. The Predator's Recognition. Park Jin-woo had been on the station for 8 months. He was supposed to be a mercenary, a human who had turned against his own kind for money. That was his cover story. The truth was different. He worked for human intelligence, gathering information on the slave trade, waiting for an extraction team that never seemed to come. When he heard about the woman who had arrived alone, he went to find her. She was sitting in a cantina near the middle levels. The place was usually crowded. Aliens liked to drink here, to gamble, to fight. But today, every table near the human woman was empty. The other customers had moved as far away as possible without leaving entirely. They kept glancing at her, then looking away quickly when she moved. Jin-woo watched from the doorway for a long moment. He was a trained operative. He had worked with soldiers and spies and killers. He knew dangerous people. This woman was something else. He walked over and sat across from her. She looked at him with calm, dark eyes. She did not seem surprised. She did not seem worried that a stranger had approached her. "You are human," she said. It was not a question. "Yes, my name is Park Jin-woo." "Min." They sat in silence for a moment. At a nearby table was trying very hard to listen to their conversation while pretending to drink. His ears kept turning toward them. Jin-woo lowered his voice. "I know what you are. I recognize you." "What am I?" "An extraction specialist. The kind that governments use when they cannot send armies, when one person has a better chance than 100 soldiers." Min did not confirm or deny this. She simply waited. Jin-woo leaned forward. "I have been undercover here for months. I know this station. I know's compound. If you are planning what I think you are planning, you should know that he has 200 armed guards, automated turrets, and enough firepower to hold off a military assault. I know. You cannot fight them all. No, I cannot. Yet the nearby table had given up pretending. He was staring openly now, his yellow eyes fixed on the small human woman who spoke of facing an army as if discussing the weather. Min looked at him, just looked. The ears flattened and he turned away fast. Jinwoo watched this happen. How do you do that? Do what? Make every predator on this station afraid of you. You are small, you have no weapons, you have done nothing violent, yet they all feel it. I feel it too, and I am human. Min was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke, her voice soft but clear enough for them to hear. Your species, she said, looking at the wolf-like alien, hunts in packs. You chase prey. You run fast, you bite hard, and it is over in seconds. You are built for speed and violence. This makes you feel strong. They did not respond, but he was listening. My species is different. Humans did not evolve to be fast. We are slow. We have no claws, no fangs, no poison. For millions of years we were weak. She paused. So we learned another way to hunt. We did not chase prey until we caught it. We followed prey until it could not run anymore. We walked after animals for days, not running, just walking. The animal would sprint away, then stop to rest. Then we would appear again. It would sprint again, stop again, and we would still be coming. Jinwoo nodded. He knew this history, but hearing her say it made it sound different, terrifying. Eventually, Min continued, the prey would collapse, not from wounds, not from fighting, from exhaustion, from fear, from knowing that no matter how far it ran, the human would still be there, following, patient, unstoppable. There was shaking now. His pack instincts, his predator confidence, meant nothing against this kind of hunter. That is what humans are, Min said. We are not the fastest, we are not the strongest, we are the ones who do not stop. She finally looked at them directly. Tell your pack leader, tell everyone, I am not here to fight, I am here to collect a child. Anyone who gets in my way will not be hurt quickly. They will simply be followed until they cannot run anymore. They stood up so fast his chair fell over. He was out the door in seconds. Jinwoo let out a breath he did not know he was holding. You just made an enemy. No, I made a messenger. She was right, he realized. Within hours, every predator on the station would know. The human woman was not going to attack. She was going to hunt. And they all understood on an instinct level what that meant. Why are you doing this? Jinwoo asked. There are easier ways to make money, safer jobs. Min reached into her pocket and pulled out a small photo. A little girl with round cheeks, smiling at the camera. She set it on the table between them. 7 years old, taken from a colony transport ship 2 weeks ago. Her mother works at a factory. She cannot afford mercenaries. She cannot afford lawyers. She went to the government and begged for help. And they sent you. They sent me. Jinwoo looked at the photo. The girl looked happy, innocent. She had no idea that the galaxy was full of monsters who would cage her like an animal. I have a daughter, Min said quietly. She is 16 now. When she was 4, she was taken. Another species thought humans were easy targets. Jinwoo went very still. It took me 2 years to find her, 4 months to reach the planet where she was held, 11 days to take apart the organization that had stolen her. 11 days. 11 days. He did not ask what had happened during those 11 days. He did not want to know. After that, Min continued, other parents began to contact me. Children kept disappearing from human colonies. The military could not always help. Politicians did not always care. But I cared. I always care. She put the photo back in her pocket. 37 times I have gone to places like this. 37 children taken back from slavers and criminals and monsters who thought humans were prey. I have never failed. I will not fail now. Jinwoo made his decision. It was not a smart decision. It would blow his cover, ruin months of intelligence work, probably get him killed. The compound has 4 main entrances, he said. 3 are heavily guarded. The 4th is a maintenance tunnel in Sector 12. Does not use it much because it is small, human-sized. Min looked at him. For the first time, something like warmth appeared in her eyes. Thank you. I am coming with you. No, you have your own mission. My mission can wait, this cannot. She studied him for a long moment, then she nodded just once. That night received a message on his personal terminal. No sender identification, no threats, just a question in simple galactic common. Do you know what your species calls a nightmare? He deleted the message and laughed. Then he ordered the guards doubled. He told himself it was just a precaution. But when he went asleep that night, he kept his weapons beside his bed. And his dreams were filled with shadows that would not stop following him, no matter how fast he ran. No armor, no sound, still every predator recognized her instantly. Part 3, the hunt begins. 2 days passed, nothing happened. The slavers in compound began to relax. They had been tense at first, doubling patrols, checking every shadow. But the human woman had done nothing. She had not tried to sneak in. She had not gathered weapons. She had not hired mercenaries or called for backup. She had simply existed, somewhere up in the station doing nothing. The guards started to laugh about it. One tiny human, and we hid like children. They mocked each other for being afraid. They told jokes about what they would do when they finally caught her. Announced a reward. Anyone who brought him the human woman alive would receive double shares of the next slave sale. The guards were eager now. This would be easy money. But then strange things started to happen. A guard named was patrolling Corridor 7 when he saw something. A figure at the end of the hallway, small, human-shaped. He blinked and it was gone. He told himself it was just shadows, just his imagination. The next night, 3 guards reported the same thing. A glimpse of movement at the edge of their vision, a feeling of being watched. When they turned to look, nothing was there. The lights in Sector 7 began to flicker. The maintenance team could not find anything wrong with them. They just flickered, randomly, making shadows jump and dance. A pack had been hired for extra security. They were supposed to be the best trackers on the station. After 2 nights of patrol, they packed their things and left without explanation. Their leader spoke to before departing. Humans do not hunt like us, he said. His voice was shaking. We track prey until we see them, then we attack. Humans track prey until the prey knows it is being tracked, until the prey cannot sleep, cannot eat, cannot think of anything except the hunter behind them. That is when the human strikes, not before, not after, exactly when the prey is most afraid. He left the station on the next ship. 17 guards quit over the next 36 hours. They did not ask for their pay. They just left. Some had worked for years. They had faced dangerous enemies, fought in bloody battles, but they would not stay for this. Received 3 more messages. The first was a number, 47, the exact count of slaves in his compound. No one outside the compound should have known that number. The second was a list of names. Every guard who had personally hurt a human captive. There were 12 names. Each one was correct. The third was a single sentence. I have memorized the location of your 12 escape routes. He had only 11 escape routes. At least he thought he did. Now he was not sure. Lieutenant unnamed came to him with anger in his voice. This is ridiculous. She is one human. We have nearly 200 fighters. Let me take a squad and hunt her down. Almost agreed. Then he looked at the messages again. The exact number of slaves, the names of specific guards, the escape routes. How does she know these things? He asked quietly. She must have spies, informants. We will find them and... We have been looking for 3 days. We have found nothing. No spy, no informant, nothing. Had no answer for that. That night went to his quarters to sleep. His room was locked from the inside. He checked under the bed, in the closet, behind the door. He was alone, completely alone. He woke up 6 hours later on the floor. His head hurt. His hand was bleeding from a small cut, not dangerous, just a thin line across his palm. On the wall, written in his own blood, was a number, 17. He did not understand at first. Then he realized 17 was the number of human children in the slave pens. Ran to his office, still bleeding. She was in my room. She was in my locked room while I slept. How? I do not know. She did not kill me. She did not steal anything. She just left a message. Stared at his lieutenant. Was one of his best fighters. Strong, fast, experienced. And somehow, a small human woman had walked into his locked room, knocked him unconscious, and left without anyone noticing. She is playing with us, said slowly. Yes. She wants us afraid. Yes. Is it working? Did not answer. He did not need to. His shaking hand said everything. That afternoon called a meeting of all his officers. 20 warriors, the strongest and most experienced in his organization. They gathered in the main hall, surrounded by guards, protected by walls and weapons and shields. I want to negotiate, said. Release the humans, all of them. Get this woman to leave us alone. His officers were silent. Then one spoke. We cannot. If we show weakness now, every other predator species will see it. They will stop paying us protection money. The clans will think we have gone soft. We will lose everything. She is one human. She has already taken half our guards, not by killing them, by making them too afraid to stay. How long before the rest leave? How long before we have no one left to defend the compound? The argument went back and forth. Wanted to surrender. His officers refused. They could not show weakness. They could not let one human woman defeat them. Finally, they decided. They would set a trap. They would let the woman think they were weak, then ambush her when she tried to enter the compound. 200 against 1. No matter how skilled she was, those numbers were impossible. The meeting ended. The officers left to prepare. Sat alone in his office. He looked at the empty chair across from his desk. I know you are listening, he said quietly. No response. The room was empty. But he knew, somehow he knew. She had heard everything. The trap, the ambush, all of it. She knew what they were planning. And she was not afraid. In her small room on the upper levels, Min sat perfectly still. Jinwoo was with her, a small communication device in his hand. They had placed listening devices throughout the compound 3 days ago, during the first night when everyone was focused on the main entrances. They are setting a trap, Jinwoo said. Yes. 200 guards waiting for you. Yes. How do you plan to beat those odds? Min looked at him with those calm, dark eyes. I do not need to beat them. I need to break them. There is a difference. How? Every predator thinks with instinct first. They react to fear before they react to logic. For 3 days I have been teaching them to fear. Every shadow that moves, every noise they cannot explain, every message that should be impossible. She stood up slowly. Tomorrow I will walk in through the main entrance, not the maintenance tunnel, the main entrance where all their guards are waiting. That is suicide. No, that is the final lesson. When they see me coming, walking straight toward them with no weapon and no armor, they will have to choose. Fight something that does not behave like prey should behave. Something that should be terrified but is not. Something that has spent 3 days proving it can reach them anywhere, anytime. She looked toward the door, toward the levels below, toward the compound where 17 children were waiting to be saved. Predators are confident when they hunt weak prey. When the prey is not weak, when the prey walks toward them instead of running away, their instincts get confused. They hesitate, they doubt, and in that moment of doubt, She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Jinwoo understood. The guards would not see a small, unarmed woman walking toward them tomorrow. They would see their own fear, given human form, coming to collect what was owed. No armor, no sound, still every predator recognized her instantly. Part 4. The Breaking. 72 hours since Min arrived on the station. His compound was in chaos. More guards had deserted. Those who remained were tired and afraid. They jumped at shadows. They argued with each other. Some had stopped sleeping entirely, convinced that the human woman would visit them if they closed their eyes. 7 guards had been found unconscious in different parts of the compound. Nothing was stolen from them. They were not seriously hurt, but each one woke up with a message written somewhere on their body in their own blood. Each message was the name of a slave they had hurt. The guards who saw these messages understood. The human woman knew who they were, she knew what they had done, and she was marking them. Jinwoo met Min in her room, one last time before she went in. "I have to ask," he said, "who trained you? Where did you learn to do this?" She was quiet for a long moment. Outside the window, the stars were cold and distant. "My daughter was taken when she was 4 years old," she said finally. "A species called they thought human children would make good pets. They took her from a park while I was watching." Jinwoo did not speak. He could hear the weight in her voice. "I was a normal woman then, a teacher. I taught history at a middle school. I had never been in a fight in my life." She turned to look at him. "When they took my daughter, something inside me changed. I stopped being afraid. I stopped caring about my own safety. I only cared about one thing, getting her back." "What did you do?" "I learned. I found people who knew how to track, how to fight, how to move without being seen. I trained every day for 2 years while I searched for information about where they had taken her." 2 years. 2 years. Some people thought I was crazy. Some tried to help me. Some got in my way. Her eyes went distant. I walked over all of them. Nothing could stop me. Nothing could slow me down. I had become something new, something that did not stop. Jinwoo thought about that. A normal woman, a teacher, transforming herself into something that could scare entire species of predators, all because her child was taken. "When I found the compound, they had guards too. Not as many as, but enough. They laughed when they saw me coming." "What happened?" 11 days later, I walked out with my daughter in my arms. "The organization does not exist anymore." She said it simply, like she was describing a trip to the market. Jinwoo felt a chill run down his spine. After that, other parents found me. Their children had been taken too. They had no money, no power, no one to help them, so I helped them. 37 times. 37 times. And I will do it 37 more if I have to. These children are not mine, but they could be. Every scared little girl in a cage could be my daughter. Every crying boy wondering if anyone will save him could be my student. I cannot save everyone, but I can save these ones." She picked up her bag. Inside was a simple medical kit, some tools, and nothing else. "It is time." At exactly 300 station time, the power grid in its compound failed. The lights went dark. Emergency backups activated, casting everything in dim red light. The guards scrambled to their positions. This was it. The human was coming. They gripped their weapons and watched every entrance. Min walked in through the main gate. She did not sneak. She did not hide. She simply walked straight down the center of the main corridor in full view of everyone. 100 weapons pointed at her. She did not slow down. The first guard to attack was a young, eager to prove himself. He charged at her with a blade in each hand. She was not there when his blades arrived. She moved just slightly and her hand touched his neck. He collapsed instantly, unconscious before he hit the ground. She kept walking. The second guard opened fire with an energy weapon. The shot went wide. How did it go wide? He was an expert marksman, he never missed. But his hands were shaking too much to aim straight. She was past him before he could fire again. A touch to the back of his head and he was down. Third, fourth, fifth. She moved through them like water through rocks. Not fast, not slow, just inevitable. Every guard who came at her ended up on the floor. Every shot fired at her missed. The radios crackled with panicked voices. She is in corridor 7, no 9. How is she so fast? She is not even running. I had a clear shot. I swear I had a clear shot. She looked at me, just looked at me. I cannot move, I cannot. 200 guards, the finest warriors could buy, and they were falling apart. Some ran. They threw down their weapons and fled into the station, not caring about their pay or their reputation. Others froze, unable to move, unable to think. Their predator instincts, honed over millions of years of evolution, had one message: this creature is not prey. Do not fight. Do not engage. Run. Hide. Survive. Min reached the inner compound in less than 20 minutes. The bodies behind her were all breathing. She had not killed anyone. She had simply turned them off, one by one, like switching off lights. Was waiting in the slave pens. He had gathered his remaining loyal guards around him. 30 warriors, the best he had. And he had a shield that no human could ignore. He held a human child in front of him, 7 years old, a blade pressed against her small neck. "Stop," he roared. Min stopped. For the first time since entering the compound, she stood still. Come any closer and she dies. The child was crying. Her eyes were red and swollen. She had been crying for days, but when she saw Min, something changed in her face. Hope. Min looked at her. Expression was calm. Her voice was soft. In my culture there is a word, Han. It means the grief and anger that builds up over time, the pain that cannot be forgotten, the wrong that demands to be made right. She took a step forward. Press the blade harder. I said stop. You have taken children from their parents. You have caused pain that will echo through families for generations. The Han you have created cannot be measured. It cannot be forgiven. Another step. I am not here to kill you. I do not need to. I am here to collect what you owe. Every child, every innocent life you have caged. She was close now. Close enough that he could reach her with the blade if he moved fast. Close enough that she could see the fear in his eyes. Please, he whispered. The words seemed to surprise him. He had never said please in his life. Please, I will release them, all of them, just leave. Leave and do not come back. Min held out her hand. Give me the child. His arm was shaking. The blade was shaking. His whole body was shaking. And then slowly he lowered the weapon. He released. The little girl ran to Min and grabbed her leg, burying her face in the dark fabric. Min put a hand on the child's head. It is okay now. I am here. I promised your mother I would bring you home. Around her, the remaining guards were dropping their weapons. Some were kneeling. Some were crying. They were predators. They had conquered worlds. And they had been broken by a woman who did not stop. No armor, no sound, still every predator recognized her instantly. Part 5. The legend spreads. 1 month later, the station had changed. The slave pens in its compound were empty. Every cage had been opened. Every prisoner had been freed. Human relief ships had arrived within days to take the survivors home. Himself had vanished. Some people said he fled to the outer rim, as far from human space as possible. Others said he was still on the station somewhere, wandering through markets and corridors, whispering apologies to no one. His organization was gone. Without him, without his reputation, the other predator species had picked it apart like scavengers on a corpse. His empire of fear had lasted decades. It took one woman 11 days to destroy it completely. The other slavers on the station noticed. They had always considered humans easy prey. Soft skin, no claws, no natural weapons, perfect victims. Now they were not so sure. Jinwoo was finally extracted a week after the operation. Human intelligence sent a ship for him, impressed by the information he had gathered but even more impressed by what he had witnessed. They debriefed him for 3 days. They wanted to know everything about Min, how she moved, how she thought, how she had broken 200 guards without firing a single shot. He told them what he could. It was not enough. Some things could not be explained in reports. A month after the mission, Jinwoo was sitting in a bar on a human colony world. He had earned some rest, some time to think about what he had seen. A young trader sat down next to him, one of the few aliens brave enough to visit human establishments. She had questions. "I heard the story," she said. Her scales were neutral gray, curious but cautious. "A human woman walked into a compound of 200 guards and walked out with all the prisoners. No army, no weapons. How is that possible?" Jinwoo took a drink before answering. "Do you know why humans became the top species on our?" The shook her head. "We were slow, weak. No venom, no armor, no strength compared to the other predators. But we had one advantage: we understood fear." He set down his glass. "Your ancestors became strong by being fast, by being deadly. Mine became strong by knowing exactly what every other creature was afraid of. We watched predators, studied them, learned their patterns, their weaknesses, their instincts, and then we used that knowledge against them." The scales flickered with unease. "That woman," Jinwoo continued, "she has spent years learning how predator species think. She knows what scares them on an instinct level. Not pain, not death, something deeper. The feeling of being hunted by something they cannot understand, something that does not behave like prey should behave." He looked at the directly. "When she walked into that compound, those guards did not see a small human woman. They saw the thing their ancestors evolved to fear, the patient hunter, the one who follows and never stops. They could not fight that. No amount of training can overcome millions of years of instinct." There was quiet for a long time. Then she asked, "Are there more like her?" "I do not know, maybe. Maybe she is unique, but I will tell you something." He leaned closer. "Every species in this galaxy takes human children. They think we are easy targets. They think we will not come for them." His voice went cold. "They are wrong. We always come. Sometimes it is soldiers. Sometimes it is spies. Sometimes it is one small woman with no weapons and no armor." He finished his drink and stood up. "Tell your people, tell every predator species you know. Human children are not prey, and the humans who come for them do not stop, ever." In a small apartment in Seoul, Hanbai held her daughter for the 100th time that day. Was home, safe, sleeping in her own bed, surrounded by her own toys with her mother just down the hall. The nightmares were fading, the fear was healing. It would take time, but she would be okay. Bai had tried to pay Min. The woman had refused. She had tried to give her gifts to express gratitude somehow. Min had accepted only one thing: a home-cooked meal before she left. They had sat together in the small kitchen, eating rice and soup and vegetables. For a few hours, Min had seemed almost normal. A tired woman in her 40s, with lines around her eyes and gray in her hair. Someone who had seen too much but kept going anyway. "How can I ever repay you?" Bai had asked. "You already have. She is home. But you risked your life." "That is what I do." Min had looked at, sleeping on the couch nearby. "Every child I bring back is worth any risk. They have their whole lives ahead of them. I would give everything to protect that." She had left the next morning. Bai watched her go and wondered where she was headed next. Across the galaxy, the story spread through predator networks. It changed with each telling. Some versions said she killed 100 guards with her bare hands. Others said she never touched anyone at all, that guards simply collapsed when she looked at them. A few claimed she was not real, just a human myth designed to scare the other species. But the slavers knew the truth. They had seen the pattern. When a human child went missing, there was a window, a few days, a few weeks. If the child was returned quickly, nothing happened. If the child was not returned, something came. Sometimes a military extraction team, sometimes a mercenary company, sometimes a government strike force, and sometimes just one person, small, quiet, carrying no weapons. The smart slavers started releasing human children immediately. No ransom, no negotiation. Just release them and hope that was enough. The others learned the hard way. On a distant station, a warlord received a human delegation. They wanted to negotiate the release of 4 colonists taken in a recent raid. The warlord laughed. "Negotiate? You have no fleet here, no army. What exactly do you threaten me with?" The human diplomat smiled politely. He slid a single photograph across the table. A woman's small, dark hair, unremarkable. "Nothing at all. We are here to ask politely, once. And if I refuse?" Then we stop asking politely, and she starts asking instead. The warlord looked at the photograph. His hands began to shake. 12 hours later, the colonists were released. In her apartment inn, Min received a message on her secure terminal. She read it slowly, carefully. Another child, another name, another family desperate for help. Her daughter brought her tea. She was 16 now, tall and healthy, studying medicine at a good university. She wanted to help people, she said, to heal them, to fix what was broken. Min was proud of her every day. "Mom, are you going away again?" Min looked at the message, then at her daughter, then at the photo beside her bed, the one from 12 years ago when she had finally brought home. "Yes, but not for long." "Promise." Min stood up and hugged her daughter, held her tight, remembered the years of searching, the fear, the pain, the moment when she had finally held this child again after thinking she might never see her. "I promise, I always come back." She meant it. She had made that promise 37 times. She had kept it 37 times. She would keep it again. Somewhere out there, another child was waiting in a cage. Another mother was crying, wondering if anyone would come. Another predator species was about to learn the oldest lesson in human history. The most dangerous creature in any room is not the one with the biggest claws. It is the one that knows exactly what you are afraid of. And it does not stop. Ever.